Welcome to Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, I look into sports, wellness, and, of course, fitness. Well, this week, two Central Track and Field senior athletes join us. Gabe Bryant, next to me, Tarek Schraith. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Well, as we tape the show here on Valentine's Day, I would imagine that when you got to school this morning and you open up your lockers, all your admirers, probably all kinds of Valentines fell out of your lockers right on the floor. Did that happen, Tarek?
Not for me, but it might be different with Gabe because he has a girlfriend right now. I'm single, so.
Oh, big single guy over here.
But I would think it's more likely to have an abundance of Valentines from you, because if multiple cards came out of Gabe Bryant's, it'd be like there would be a problem.
Yeah, maybe
a little suspicion.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Well, it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah,
Student athletes. You know, I looked at your profile, and perhaps more so than you typically would see, although there's been a lot of great students on this show. But I look at, Tarek, your profile, highest honor roll, student of the month, academic achievement award, National Honor Society. I mean, you exemplify student first, athlete second. I mean, that is incredibly impressive. Talk about your dedication to academics.
Okay, well, when I grew up, my family was always kind of teaching me to be responsible for my education, and they would help me, but they wouldn't always give me the answer right away. They'd work it through with me, like easy math problems that I look back now, it's like, go like that, but back then, it's like crying, you're mad because you just can't solve it, but you just keep working on it. My dad would teach perseverance, and so I think those core values that were set like when I was a lot younger really are starting to show now.
Wow, that is impressive. And of course, again, next to me, Gabe Bryant, friend of mine, friend of the family. I look at your profile, all academic, all city academic, and I know in the past, well, maybe even few years, there's been kind of an emergence of the academic side of Gabe Bryant.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like my whole life I've been relatively good with school. I've always put that on the top of my to-do list, basically. I'm a student that always gets their homework done, like the classic kind of, I guess, nerdy person that like is kind of like the person that pays attention in class, and I do very well. I take a lot of AP and advanced classes, and I would say I do very good with school.
I don't know about nerdy. Did our viewers hear that? I don't think dedicated student athletes are nerdy at all. I just think they're respectful and they have goals and objectives and so on. But academics, certainly, even your parents told me that they're proud of you. But so when you have a hard schedule, you said you took AP, you take AP classes. Yes. You're an athlete. You're involved in multiple activities. It's all about time management, isn't it?
A lot of time management. For example, I see you at the gym quite frequently. I try to keep a consistent routine, and when that routine kind of gets thrown off, I notice that's when I start to backpedal a little bit. But I'm usually able to keep a consistent throughout like the month or the year, specifically the school year, which is when it's most important with your academics. I have school, I often lift or have sports afterwards, and then sometimes late nights, sometimes not, but I also have the homework that I have to do later at night. But I just try to keep a consistent routine, and that allows me to pay like more attention to everything that needs to be focused on. Not
even adults are that good at that. I do see Gabe at the gym all the time. Unfortunately, I don't look quite like him, but I'm working. Tarek, too, balancing classes, but I know, talk about give our viewers an idea of what your school day is like.
Okay, well, throughout my high school career, it hasn't always been easy. I've had to either drop a class or pick up a new one. So it's kind of been a shuffle of what fits best for me, and I've always been constantly figuring out what's up with, how can I learn best, what's the best techniques for me. And for me, memorization is a hard thing for me to deal with. I have this really hard time memorizing a lot of facts, so anything that's fact-based or memorization-based is hard, but things that are more physical or things that I can maybe look at a different direction from, that maybe is like a piece of a puzzle that if it works, it works, and then I can build off that. That's a lot easier for me, so it's more like visual learning for me, or group work learning for me is easy, but basically I just, throughout my career, it's hard to juggle what I'm going to do class-wise.
Talk about quickly your involvement with Student Senate.
Yeah, so Student Senate is like a group where there's representatives from each grade, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, and we kind of bring up ideas that would help the students in Central feel more included or put on events. Like this year we put on dodgeball. I was head of dodgeball committee. He was on my team. That was really fun. It's always really fun and very competitive, and a lot of people really enjoy that. And so you meet once a week in the morning, early morning, and you just kind of discuss what you think you could do to improve the school.
Again, our guests today, Tarek, Schraith, and Gabe Bryant. Gabe, favorite class, favorite teacher, what do you like about, what's a classroom culture that you really enjoy?
Well, I have to admit my favorite class would be AP European History. I know that's a very uncommon favorite class, but I've always kind of been a fan of history. The European history class that I had last year was a smaller group of kids. We all were very interested and very good with the history, and so it just turned out to be a very fun class. We learned a lot in that class. My favorite teacher, I have to go with also my track coach, Mr. Wilkinson. I had him last year with astronomy. It's a very laid-back class, and it's fun. It's a different atmosphere than most classrooms are. It's a very relaxed situation with him. He's a very relaxed guy. Plays the guitar half the time. He's in a band and everything. And then my favorite thing about the classroom atmosphere is honestly just the camaraderie. Like you see with sports, oftentimes camaraderie between teammates, but you also see that in the classroom with friends and the people's peers that are helping each other with problems, and you're talking about how hard the last hour's class test was, or different struggles that you face throughout the school day.
Two extremely articulate young men, to say the least, again from Central High School. We are going to talk about track and field and other things, but before we jump to that, since we're on academics, let's fast forward your life. Let's go to, you're going to college, obviously 4 years, and then you're going into a pretty sophisticated career, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at biomedical engineering. I'm type 1 diabetic, and so I use an insulin pump that impacts my life, obviously, substantially. And so to have that kind of insight on the biomedical engineering career, that kind of got me interested in it. And from there, I've also researched a lot of things having to do with prosthetics and other areas that field cover. And so that's what I'm looking to do. And I mean, that'll be, if I continue to go, try to be in that career, that'll be a very interesting career choice.
Make sure you stay tuned to this show, because later on we're going to talk about type 1 diabetes and how this guy is a remarkable example of handling that setback. Well, Tarek, too, marketing student of the month, and I mean you're destined for success too. Where's that going to take you? And 10 years from now, if you win, you might win the Nobel Peace Prize or whatever. What are you going to be doing?
Yeah, well, I got accepted to UW Milwaukee for architecture. To go back on what I said earlier, visual learning is the best way for me, and I've always been more of a creative guy than a memorization guy. So when I think of architecture, I think of being able to explore my creativity and really dive deep into designing buildings or houses. And yeah.
Speaking of diving deep, this is kind of an unscheduled question. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Bring it on.
If you could change the world in a substantial way, in any way to make this a better world for all of us, how would you do that?
Like a building or just anything?
Anything.
Well, let's just say I like what Elon Musk is doing with his renewable energy, with his solar panel for the roofs, the cars, being able to create stuff that is not only helping the planet, but also doing it in a semi-cheaper way so that lots of people can buy it or get into this idea. So something that would just be very innovative. Like Elon Musk also, he's the founder of SpaceX, one of the main guys in that, and that's innovative. So I feel like how that works on later, it was
a studio, but also a classroom here this afternoon. Again, on February 14th, we're celebrating Valentine's Day in kind of a unique way. You like the world you live in, Gabe? And if not, share for our viewers the kind of world you want to live in.
I don't know. I guess locally speaking, I enjoy La Crosse. I think it's a great community. It's small enough you know a lot of the people, but big enough where you don't know everybody. I love the outdoors and everything around the city. But as a whole, I guess like the world. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
The world that the world you want to grow up in as you get older. The world you'd like to see your children experience.
I guess going back to the La Crosse situation, I'd like to grow up. I would like to see bigger cities. I would like to see like the things that they allow, but I think I'll always be a smaller to mid-sized city kind of person. I would like to grow up and be able to live in a city very similar to the one that I was raised in. It's what I'm used to. And I'd also like my children to be able to know what it's like to not just live in a big city surrounded by technology and the newest and greatest, but also kind of be able to go back and get in touch with the outdoors and the more simple portions of life.
And you like the roots, the simple way, kind of like Thoreau did, you mean?
What was that?
Kind of like Thoreau did. He was a famous writer and author and so on. But a simpler life. But you like the diversity in this area. You like the values and so on because that's what you represent. Yeah,
I appreciate the diversity. I mean, I'm multiple ethnicities. I'm Filipino, which is why I have darker skin and darker complexion, but I'm also a lot of Northern European, Norwegian, German, and a little bit of Native American. And I like the diversity. I also like the diversity a city allows, but I do like the more simple, down to roots, like you were saying.
Well, you make sure you stay tuned in for the second half of the show because we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to actually talk about athletics too when we come back. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll step aside. We'll be right back here on 7 Rivers Sports.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to 7 Rivers Sports. A great interview today. I'm glad you're back with us. Tarek, Schraith, and Gabe Bryant, Central High School student athletes. We talked a lot about the world and other things in the first half, but we're going to talk a little bit about track and field in this segment, along with some other things. Well, starting with Tarek, track and field letters since freshman year, 2018 state track meet, 4x2, 4x4. Here's what your coach, Chad Wilkinson, said about you. Tarek is a dangerous jumper, sprinter combination. He has jumped over 41 feet in the triple jump. He's run 23 in the open and not afraid of the 400. Last year in the state meet, 4x4 relay, when the #1 runner was injured. Who do you think shows up? Well, this guy on the set shows up. So track, as we tape the show here on February 14th, it runs in March, and you'll be kind of getting into your season. let's look to the 2019 season, Tarek.
Okay, so the season coming up, it's going to be our last season, so we're going to have to really be focused. We got to be making sure everyone is doing their job. We're going to be kind of leaders, so I'm expecting to kind of have an impact on other kids this year. So it's going to be a good year, and I know that we can do special things if we work hard.
Well, leaders, I'd say. I mean, you'd be my two captains. Maybe you already are. But and here's what Coach Chad Wilkinson said about Gabe Bryant, one of the top 5 returning sprinters, great work ethic and attitude about the sport. We'll be leaning on Gabe heavily in our relays. He never complains. He's coachable. He's a leader. Does that describe you?
Well, I hope it does. I mean, it sounds pretty good to me. I'm okay with that. I like to, yeah, I don't like to complain. I like to grin and bear it. I enjoy the pain because the pain is what creates success in the long run. I do a lot of relays. We have a lot of tremendous sprinters and a lot of very fast kids on our team. And I might not be our fastest, but I'm always willing to do another race. I'm always put in relays when people are injured like Tarek. I mean, I'm always willing to do an extra race. There's never too many events for me to do in a meet. And I enjoy it.
Boy, you got to go to a central meet, or maybe the Mississippi Valley Conference meet, or the state meet, and you have to watch these two guys along with a tremendous network of and depth among your team this year for Central High School track and field. You touched on this too. We got a lot of things to talk about, but you touched about it because I know you as a friend and your family. You're type 1 diabetes. Huge distinction between type 1, type 2. Type 1, genetic. Type 2, maybe a reflection on lifestyle choices and so on. But type 1, and you have a service dog. I mean, you were profiled on TV with a piece which you didn't really like because you're not the kind that likes to be at the center of attention. That's why at the gym he puts his hood up so nobody sees him. But talk about the challenges in being a type 1 diabetic.
Well, the biggest challenge is just it's 24/7. It doesn't go away. It's not something like school, well, you can just sleep on it. You just go to bed. It's not in your mind anymore. My body is always type 1 diabetic. So even in the middle of the night, I could possibly be waking up with a low. It can affect my mood if my blood sugars are off. It can affect my athletics. For example, if I have a very high blood sugar, it's very hard to do the athletic competitions that I'm in, for example, with track or other sports. You just don't have that energy, the same with low blood sugars.
You're an inspiration to people that have an issue like that. You're an inspiration because of the way you handle it, because you sort of, when you were diagnosed 5-6 years ago, I think you were around 12 when you were diagnosed. You didn't take the low road. You took the high road. You became better as an athlete. You became better as a student. Is that just reflective of your character?
Well, I hope it is because, I mean, I like to bounce back from struggles. For example, when I was diagnosed type 1 diabetic, I mean, that's not easy for any kid to go through. I was a little bit older. I was still within the average age, but I was in 7th grade, which is, it's on the older side of average, I would say. And so it's an extremely different lifestyle afterwards. It's a completely new weight that you now have to bear. And so that kind of, I guess, like the extra weight just kind of made me stronger. It's like when you're lifting, the more weight you put on, the stronger and more resilient you become.
And you have a dog too, and the dog was profiled on TV, and I know the dog's with you at school, but not each and every day. But we're gonna come back to a couple other things. But Tarek, too, you've had a broken collarbone. You have Sever's disease, which I know. I read a little bit about it, and I know it's prevalent with gymnasts, and it's about with your growth plates and your heel and so on. Yep. Has that been a struggle?
Yeah, my collarbone happened during a football game. I didn't know it was broken until after the game. It hurt the day after. I'm like, since my dad's a doctor, I was like, this still kind of hurts, and he got it checked out, and they took it in for x-ray. I had to go in a sling, and good thing that wasn't during a track season, or else I would have been a lot more angry or mad that it happened then. But I'm thankful that I was okay afterwards. It's my Sever's disease was more in middle school, and I've overcome that. I had lots of foot insoles to help with that, but that was also hard to deal with as well.
Any profound advice for people watching the show, either young people, adults, that you're in terms of nutrition, workout, discipline, to become a great student athlete like you two guys are? What would be a very succinct thing you might share, Tarek?
Well, one thing I would say is when your coach is asking you to do something, you should probably do it because they know what's best for you. So if they say, let's do these 450s, try not to complain, and I know Gabe is great about doing everything. He never complains. I never hear him complain. And there's got to be more people like Gabe that don't complain and are just compliant with the coach, because that's the way that you're going to be better. And Wilkes is a respectable guy. And if I gave one advice, it'd be listen to your coaches because they know what they're doing.
An appetite for learning, that's what it's called in the coaching world. You want a dream team. You want a dream team surrounded with athletes that enjoy the journey, that aren't necessarily always compliant. I mean, they can ask questions, but you want somebody that's coachable, that loves to be there, that has a passion for life. Is that you, Gabe?
I hope so. Like I say, I guess with all of these, you make it out to be a good thing, so I hope I'm all of these things. I mean, I try to listen to my coaches. I do what they say. I understand that athletes and being athletic and in good shape and learning how to do these things with these sports, they don't come overnight. You're not going to go to one practice. Your coach is going to tell you to do something. You do it, and you're going to become an all-star. So I think the appetite is of wanting to learn and being able to listen to your coach, not just one practice or not just the beginning of the year, but even into the end of the year where you don't think any improvements could happen in such a short amount of time that's left. You have to have that appetite to really be able to grind in and dig your heels in regardless of how long the season is. Or like last year, we had a lot of snow at the beginning of the season. And you really took an appetite to want to be better than you were the last day in order to continue to work hard.
Speaking of an appetite for different things, quickly, I was watching a spot on TV recently. It's like Gabe Bryant, a trap shooter. The Central Logan trap shoot team. Now, I would bet you that 99% of people watching this show is like, what? A trap shooting team?
Yeah, so my dad actually helped start it, and well, he basically did start it. He set it up, and he no longer runs it. He kind of handed that off to the next people, but he started it my freshman year. I wasn't able to do it my freshman year. I actually played baseball my whole life up until then. The following year, though, I went from baseball to track, and that allowed me to do trap as well. And that first year that I did trap, I got second in the entire state for high school at the state shoot competition.
So your secret gift and passion is the outdoors, isn't it?
Yes.
You like the outdoors. I know, Tarek, you leadership is what you're all about too. I mean, I didn't even really know Tarek Schraith until this show. Is like, this guy is a leader. Describe what a student leader at Central is all about.
At Central, especially as you get older, you take the lessons that the people before you have given you, and you really understand where they were coming from. And it's something that you kind of want to give on to the next people, and you want to take that leadership role and provide expertise or help and encouragement to these younger guys coming after you, because I was in that situation before, and that helped me a lot, and I hope that I can continue that.
So it's called paying it forward.
Yeah, basically.
And that's kind of what you're doing. Yep. And goals that you have, Gabe, for the track season?
My goals are just try your best. Like, we have a lot of kids on our team, very varying abilities. I would like to see some of our sprinters, since I am a sprinter. I mean, obviously, I want to see everybody be able to go to state. But personally, I would like to be able to send some teams to state again, as we have in the past. I would like to I would just like to stay committed and see our team stay committed. Like I said last year with all the snow, it's hard to stay committed for that long without any meets. But my goal for our team would just be for everybody to continue to work hard and not to just give up on the season, to try their best.
You ever heard the saying, broken crayon still color? Ever heard that?
I have not, but it makes sense.
Broken crayon is still color. In other words, people that have setbacks, diseases, and so on, like you had, can still paint a Rembrandt, can still contribute a lot. And you're doing that, aren't you? Is that your purpose in life?
Well, I would like to always be able to pay it back. Like I said, with my career choice with biomedical engineering, that's a kind of a pay it back kind of thing. My biggest setback, which was type 1 diabetes, is now what is propelling me into my next future career.
Good. And are we going to see you on the podium at the state meet at UWL this May?
Well, that would be spectacular. That would be absolutely spectacular. I mean, I'll work as hard as I can, maybe.
You know, I'm blessed to be the host of this show, because just to be able to sit alongside these kind of these student athletes filled with character and values and a great future, it's been a pleasure to have you. Again, Tarek, Schraith, and Gabe Bryant, thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be back with some closing thoughts right after this.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
Who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Thanks for joining us this week here on 7 River Sports. Spring is on the way. I hope you're all excited, and I hope you also have an active and a healthy week ahead.